Welcome to the latest episode of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for finding us on your favorite podcast app. We're on Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're also on Dash Radio on the Nothing But Net channel every single weeknight at 7 p.m. Also, the Five Reasons YouTube channel, post up on 5R, hosted by Royal Shepherd with the rest of the crew, is going on as we speak. You can catch them for a different perspective as soon as you finish listening to this, of course. Also, fivereasonsports.com, spell it out, F-I-V-E. That's where you find Brady Hawk's stories and the rest of the stories in our network, not just on the Heat, but on the other teams in town. The Panthers go down 3-1 in their series today. Also, check out the great sponsors of the Five Reasons Sports Network. That includes our friends at Miami Grill. You'd be feeling a little bit better right now if you had some of that, because the only thing better than cheering on your Miami Heat is doing it with your favorite wings. Miami Grill's got you covered. Bring home a platter of your faves to share for the next game. Game 2 coming up on Monday. Just how you like them. Crispy, grilled, naked, or boneless, and sauce of perfection. One of 3 new sauces. That's mango habanero, honey garlic, and Nashville hot. If you can't decide, get them all delivered with a catering order. There's more than just wings, too. Order for the whole fam with cheesesteaks, gyros, burgers, and more. And don't forget, for a limited time, you can also get your Miami Grill collectible cup featuring artwork by 4 different Wynwood Mural Fest artists. Collect all 4, buy yours for $2.99, or upgrade your meal deal to a larger size for $2.99 and get more fries and the cup. Order online or in person. Pickup, drive-through, dine-in, and delivery available at all locations. I got a couple right here in Fort Lauderdale. Visit mymiamigrill.com for more details. Miami Grill, if you're craving it, they're making it. And now, today's episode. All right, Ethan Skolnick back on 5 on the Floor. Here's the floor plan. I got Greg Sylvander. I got Alex Toledo. Alex, you can find him at Tropical Blanket. Greg Sylvander at Greg Sylvander. Alex is popping in and out on the calls along with Brady right now. After the Miami Heat lose 109-107 to the Milwaukee Bucks in game 1 of their first round series, game goes to overtime. Jimmy Butler, who had a horrible night from the field, does make a driving layup at the buzzer to send the game to overtime. Miami has chances in the overtime, but can't finish. Some sloppy play down the stretch of the game. The overall numbers that we'll talk about here, Goran Dragic leads the Heat with 25. He was basically bubble Goran, 10 of 17 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3. Duncan Robinson, 7 of 13, all from 3 for 24 points. So 49 points from Robinson and from Dragic. But the 2 stars, Jimmy Butler, did make the last shot of regulation. 4 of 22 from the field, including 2 of 9 from 3. Season high 9 3-point attempts and 6 turnovers, obscuring what was otherwise, numerically a good game, 17, 10, and 8. And Bam Adebayo, 4 of 15 from the floor, 1 free throw attempt. He did finish with 9 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. On the other side, Giannis with 26, 18, and 5. Khris Middleton with what ended up being the game winner, 27, 6, and 6. Is it this simple, Greg? If Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo play better, the Heat win?
I mean, that is the most simple way to go about this, but I have to be really honest, like walking away from this game, although it's one that definitely a Heat fan or myself would say, gosh, that was so close. They should have got that one. Like Middleton made a contested shot. He made a tough shot and they won. And sometimes that's how games go. Bam and Jimmy didn't shoot well. Combined, I think they're shooting like 22% from the field. I don't think that's going to continue. So like ultimately, I was expecting Milwaukee to kind of come out and blitz Miami and try to get to that high scoring stuff. And it was not that type of game. So I actually am leaving this feeling pretty confident in terms of that this team is not outclassed by Milwaukee in any sense at all, because Jimmy and Bam are going to get better.
I think these teams are even, Alex. Honestly, I really think they're even. I think that there are certain things that we knew that Milwaukee does better, which is they're going to dominate the paint. They're going to make it hard in the paint on defense, and they're going to be really good in the paint on offense. We saw that. There are other things that Miami does better. But let's break down the 2 guys who struggled today, because to me, one of the 2 is more concerning. I don't think we're going to see this from Jimmy again. I didn't like some of the decision making. I don't like the early clock threes at all. It almost seemed like he was tired and just trying to kind of burn the possessions. But with that being said, some of the decision making, not calling the timeouts, which was weird at the end of the game. I don't know what they were saving those for. I don't know what Jimmy was saving those for. But to me, the bigger issue is Bam. I mean, they can't win this series if Brook Lopez or whoever's guarding him is going to drop off 5 or 6 feet and he's going to pump fake, or not look at the basket. I mean, there was one possession that I got texts from 3 different people who follow this team closely, who are not reporters. Were like, what the hell is he doing? Like, I mean, we've had this conversation a million times, but I mean, it's game 1 of the playoffs, Alex. It's got to happen now.
I agree. It was disappointing to see this happen again. And I don't know if you listened to the show that me and Leif did with Brady. It was Heat offense versus Bucks defense. And so at some point in that show, I projected that at some point in the series, whether early on or not, and I had a feeling it would be early on, that we will be frustrated with Bam and that this was going to be the conversation again, because we know that they're going to drop so deep and far back that Bam knows and the shooters know that that shot is going to be there. And so the balance shifts and it's not really a balance anymore. It's just like Bam never really develops the rhythm that he's supposed to. He's just kind of looking for the shooters all day, which he's really good at. And it's good that, you got the shooters going. You feel good that, they kind of kept you in the game offensively, other than Jimmy's free throws and playmaking and whatever. But to me, it's just like there's no excuse for what he did offensively. Even if he wasn't able to get in rhythm, like I think they should adjust for that going forward. But even despite that, like the hesitancy, I thought we got him past that a little bit, like all that space.
One free throw attempt.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing.
My bad. Spo was on the call. I'll take this out. But yeah, like really though, he didn't get the free throw attempts, like you said there. And it's like Jimmy got to the line, what was it, 10 times? But you know what I will say? And I know we don't do a single game plus minus as like something that's really indicative, but I think Jimmy was -9 or something like that, and Bam was +5, which was,
I noticed that. I noticed that at halftime, and I decided not to pay attention to plus minus the rest of the game.
He needs to take the jumper when it's there, because they're giving him the jumper instead of him taking like a step or two in to take a contested floater over a bigger, longer dude. Like I just don't understand.
He's making things harder on himself. Then there was the
other. Also, did it like make things easier for Bam? Like that's why, like it's so indicative of this season. It's like, not only is it Bam's fault for the hesitancy, like he needs to take the shots that are there for him instead of forcing tougher ones and just kind of overthinking. But Spo, like that's got to be adjusted, man. Like,
well, it's got to be adjusted, Alex. But
Lopez guard in space, like
I'm past.
I'm not defending Bam. I'm just saying, like, you got to help him out a little bit, man.
He's helped him out. Look, I there are things that Eric did in this game.
I don't mean to go back and forth with you, but what if I pose this question to you? What is Bam's best thing on offense other than playmaking? When it comes to scoring, is it not like him rolling to the rim and his general lob threat? I just think
but there's also Alex, there's also the
that's how you go at Brook Lopez. It's not the jumper.
Okay, there's also the opportunity. He had a hook shot early in the third quarter where he went quick, and that is there for him sometimes. And look, absolutely. He is using, this is a text I got literally from someone who works for the Heat. Okay. I got a text. Bam needs to stop trying to get Duncan open as well as Duncan was playing and use Duncan to get himself open. Okay. That's coming from inside the house, Alex.
Text it to Spo, not to Ethan Skolnick. They need to text that to Spo in the middle of the game.
I just
I'm not I don't hate on Spo ever. I'm just a little bit frustrated with some of the way they used him, like make Brook Lopez guard in space. But whatever. Bam needed to take those jumpers that were there.
Happens, Alex. Okay, no,
jumpers. I don't disagree there.
We're gonna let Greg back in here at some point. But Alex, let me ask you this question, okay?
It's playoff time. My bad.
Do you think that if they do that Bam will be aggressive even with that? Because I have my doubts.
That's how he gets into his rhythm.
Jimmy Butler literally had to. Jimmy Butler had to scream at him to take a shot. Okay. And I'm not saying
Jimmy how about he scream for him?
Somebody
needs to screen for him.
No, but like truthfully, like there and
I was Bam too. I'm just saying,
I was absolutely defending Bam Adebayo early on in the game, but as the game went on, there were absolutely moments where you can't deny that he was just being not as aggressive, not looking at the basket. And like you said, the shots are there. All that is there. That what jumped out to me is the way that Jimmy was so pointed in his frustration towards Bam in this particular game. Bam, I mean, Jimmy had his own struggles and stuff like that. So I feel like it was absolutely a game where Bam should have been picking up the slack in that kind of way. And so it's just the thing with, and I just to provide a little perspective as we pivot from this topic, is that Bam tends to, after a game like today, come back and play much better the next game against the Lakers, against the Celtics, even Milwaukee.
Greg, but here's my thing. We've had this same conversation all season. They had a week. Everybody knew this was going to be a storyline. And I'll ask both of you this, and then I do want to move on from it because there were other things to get to in this game. Okay. We got a whole 48 hours to dissect this. But can you name the game this season that Jimmy didn't play well and Bam picked them up? Give me the game.
Okay. No.
That speaks for it. Let's get to the next topic here. All right, let's get to some of the stuff down the stretch, okay? They ended up tying the game. I have no idea how, because I mean, to me, they fumbled away the last 2 minutes of the game. I don't understand some of the decision making, and some of it was Jimmy not calling the timeout there when he got tied up. They had 2 timeouts left. It looked like Eric was frustrated. And then on the other end, again, they escaped it, okay, in large part because Giannis can't make a damn free throw, which I said before the series was going to be an issue here. And, of course, Jimmy missed one at the end too, okay? Usually he doesn't, or it hasn't recently. But then also, like, the not fouling Giannis until, like, they let 7 seconds run off the court before Jimmy fouled him. Like, what's going on? I don't understand. It's not Heat-like to me.
Yeah. No, there was a little bit of scattered play there that I feel like got everybody out of their element, and there were some missed opportunities, and timing was off, and like, you're supposed to know, score and time and all that stuff, and it just didn't feel that way. But I guess I'll just say that when you look at this game, Milwaukee made enough mistakes to me to where I feel like they're going to be able to make the right adjustments and hang with this team. I did not walk away from this game saying, like, even despite the way Bam played, I did not walk away saying, like, oh no, like this is going to be a long series for Miami. Like, Miami is here in the middle of this series. And I just don't see that much separation between these two teams. And I think Jimmy and Bam get closer to their regular selves. And the inefficient shooting from the Milwaukee players, I mean, they're going to get that kind of usage from those guys. And if they're not efficient all series, I still think Miami is a good shot here.
I don't think Miami's outclassed, Alex. Like, I think these teams are even, to be honest. I think Milwaukee adding Drew has made these teams even. I don't think it's made Milwaukee significantly better. We've seen issues with the Heat's late game execution all year. That was not as much an issue last season. Cooper Moorhead has documented this at Heat.com, that their clutch play is not where it was last year. And a lot of it seems to be mental, right? I mean, it just seems to be mistakes down the stretch.
See, the thing that Coop has also done a good job documenting regarding the clutch stuff is that they were also this bad in the regular season last year. Now, where it changed was the playoffs. They ranked like first or second or something like that in crunch time. And both this regular season and last regular season, they were in the bottom 3. So that, I don't know what that means. Today, like, there was so many, like, I cannot begin to go through all the stuff that bothered me. And again, I'm just, kind of nitpicking at stuff as somebody who doesn't have to go through the ebbs and flows of a game. I understand, like, there's stuff that's hard to quantify as stuff is going fast. But one of the things from the start to finish of the game, especially just not being adjusted in crunch time, was Middleton. He's the only guy from Milwaukee that ever kills you consistently. Since like 2015 when he hit that game winner. Like, that's exactly what I thought of when he hit this shot.
And I thought Duncan still did a good job on him.
Duncan did a good job. Yeah, and I'm not even going to say that Duncan did a bad job on him there. I just think, like, why isn't Jimmy Butler guarding him? And I understand wanting Jimmy to be a help defender all game.
Like, I know why Jimmy Butler's not guarding him. You want me to answer the question? Because Jimmy asked for Giannis.
Yeah. He said that's the guy I'm guarding. But listen, Middleton was 10.
That's how you give up rebounds, man. Like,
and Ariza got 12 rebounds, so that's why he stayed on the court. Because I kind of thought Tyler should have been in the game late instead of a guy like Ariza, because another shooter that kind of started to feel like he was getting going, towards the end.
They couldn't afford to do it on defense.
We're going to talk about the guards and the late game stuff, but I got 2 things here that we'll touch on before the break. One is Jimmy wanted Giannis. Okay. I mean, that I'm just telling you, I know that for a fact. He wanted to guard Giannis. When you see what happened to Jimmy on the other end, right, where he's settling for threes, he shoots 4 of 22, is that a bad idea? to have him guarding Giannis? In other words, is that taking too much out of him to be guarding Giannis, especially early in the game?
About the rest of the defense, and besides the fact that you can get in foul trouble guarding Giannis because he just got, I felt like he got all the calls he wanted tonight. Uh, that's me being objective, but really, Jimmy Butler, like, if he is guarding Giannis, what does it do to the rest of your defense?
Yeah.
Like
it's
everything. It just seems off to me. Like I like that he wants to take on that challenge, and physically, like, he can front him and do a good job on him. I don't doubt that. It's just like, why? Why don't you guard the guy who is literally lighting you up? Like, he is. What did Middleton finish? Like 10 of 19?
10 of 22. He wasn't efficient.
I mean,
efficient enough.
Efficient enough. You're right. And here's the one thing and we'll end here, I guess, on this particular topic. If Jimmy is going to take on the Giannis assignment, that is going to drain him of energy on the offensive end. So I don't know how that will manifest itself. I don't think it's going to be this kind of shooting every single game, but it's going to take its toll. That is the moment, Ethan, back to your original point. You asked the question. If Bam is not getting the Giannis assignment in this series, buddy, you got to go crazy. Like, that's just how it is. Like, that's it. You got the max contract. Like, I hate to be the guy to say it because you guys know I'm no ceiling. But if Jimmy has the Giannis assignment, this has to be a Bam offensive series.
And I don't think he views it that way. And we'll talk about that more after the break. I want to get into the guard play, which for a couple of guys was excellent. For one was okay. And for one, I thought was pretty awful. So we'll touch on that here in a second. Before we do, though, I want to tell you about a great sponsor, the 5 Reasons Sports Network. They sponsor a lot of the stuff on our YouTube channel. That's Biscayne Bay Brewing, the only independent brewery in South Florida. They're building a tap house right there in Miami, walking distance from the arena. God, I wish that thing was open now, but we're looking at about a month away. They're the official beer of the Miami Marlins and 5 Reasons Sports. They got the Pastime Pilsner, the Tropical Bay IPA, the Marlins Lager, and the Miami Pale Ale. Make sure you ask for it by name. They've got it now at many of the convenience stores, the grocery stores, and also the restaurants of South Florida. Biscayne Bay Brewing has been one of our elite sponsors here for a while. We appreciate you supporting them and supporting us. So check it out again. Independent, Miami-based. That's what you want to be supporting, not somebody that's coming in here from out of town. Biscayne Bay Brewing. All right, let's get to the guards, guys. And then I do want to get to some of the decision-making down the stretch because Spoelstra unveiled some lineups that, even if it was only for a defensive possession or two, that we hadn't really seen a lot of. Here, again, I mentioned the guards. Dragic had 25 on 10 of 17 shooting. Duncan, 24, 7 of 13, all from 3. None was 4 of 10. Greg, we missed on our prize picks there because he never got back in the game. He ended up with 15 total fantasy points. He needed 17, so we missed on that. He only played 23 minutes, which is a light
really
game for
surprising.
him. Yeah, and Tyler Hero played 19 minutes, 2 of 10 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3. One sort of weird stat in this game that you're going to hear is that the Heat were 20 of 50 from 3, which is 40%, which is going to win you games 90% of the time.
Yeah.
They were 16 of 49 from 2.
Disgusting.
That's 32% from 2. Okay. I mean, that's hard to do against. I mean, no matter how good a team is defensively. And I'll also say this, guys. I know this was talked about a little on the pods. Brook Lopez doesn't get enough love. He's a very good interior defender. And so, I mean, you're really talking about 4 elite defenders in their starting lineup. But let's get into the guards here. We talked all year. Are you going to get Bubble Goran? Are you going to get Bubble Goran? He was the best player on the team today, I thought. I mean, I know Duncan was tremendous, had that great late 3 where he's sort of off one leg, moving the wrong direction in a pressure situation. But Goran kept them in this game. He sort of set the pace for them. He was 5 of 10 from 3. He was getting to his spots. I also thought this is one of the best defensive games I've seen Goran Dragic play in a long time. He was attacking off the ball. He was quick with his hands. He wasn't getting bullied. Like, I do feel, Greg, when you talk about optimism for this team, I mean, I thought Duncan will have games, and he's going to have games. Maybe not like today. But, like, if you get that Goran, with the rest that they're going to have, they don't have back-to-backs in the playoffs, like, they can make a run.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess this is the overarching theme of this game, and it's fairly obvious, but I think it needs to be acknowledged. If Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo just play to their averages, not great games, just averages scoring, and Goran plays like this, the Heat are going to be fine. If they shoot anywhere in the neighborhood of 40%, they can even take a couple percentage points down from that. they're going to be okay in this series. Milwaukee looked vulnerable from the free throw line. They looked not confident at the free throw line as a team. Even their good free throw shooters like Brook Lopez, I think he missed one late that I think that kind of stuff can get contagious a little bit. 17 turnovers. I just feel like that they're beatable. So like, as much as we hate the way that this ended, they're beatable.
Alex, go through the guys. Goran, Duncan, Nunn, and Hero quickly. What did you like and what didn't you like?
Well, look, Goran to me obviously was a standout. He was your most consistent offensive player of the whole game as far as, just putting numbers on the board, right, and keeping them there. Other than Duncan, I think them two were the ones really keeping them in, and that has a lot to do with everything that we talked about. Heading into the series is just how far back their bigs drop back on the screen, and every single time they're getting those looks that they want. Like Duncan gets comfy early on from that, and we know he has games where he's just not as good as you want him to be, but that's going to be there for him every time. And then the same can be said about Goran, except instead of as a movement shooter, on ball and off the dribble. And that's where you want Goran to really succeed, is on the dribble. You want him to be, that extra shot creator, that extra scorer, playmaker for you. And that's what he is when Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis is on the floor, because he knows that, you set him up with a screen there, and if they don't play up, like, that shot is going to be there, and he has the confidence to take it and to know when to take it. And there was a couple of times there where he hesitated, and I thought he did not do a good job of trying to hit Bam on the roll. Like, it was just amazing to me. I understand the Bucks interior defense is awesome, and that is their whole game plan, by the way. And I think we got to talk about that as like a narrative for the series, is keeping the Heat ineffective from the paint and just kind of being like, well, if you're going to just shoot us to death, go ahead and do that. Because to me, it was just like, I was kind of surprised. They were more aggressive guarding Duncan last year in the playoffs than I saw in this one game. And given it's only one game, Bud might adjust, but that's not really what he's known for. None was fine. Tyler was bad for most of the game, other than that one stretch he had. I want to say, in the fourth quarter, in the beginning of the fourth or late third.
Yeah.
But to me, like, these guys are going to have the opportunities to redeem themselves. Those shots are going to be there. To me, it's going to be about striking a balance between finding some sort of rim pressure and the shooting, because Bam was just, like, if your only rim pressure is Jimmy, it's just not enough. And I really do think it's the Bucks' game plan to keep the Heat out of the paint, and they're just kind of betting that, as long as we keep Jimmy and Bam ineffective, these guys are not going to kill us. Because look how many points did the Bucks get in the paint?
I mean, they outscored them by 30 in the paint, didn't they? I mean,
that's the game right there. That's
right,
the game.
Well, it is. I mean, you go 20 or 50 from three, you should win. I mean, it's really the way that this goes. Greg, I want to get to your point here in a second. I mentioned prizepicks.com. A lot of people signed up today based on our advice. I apologize for that, but use the code 5 FIVE and you'll get that matching bonus. You can do that throughout the series. It's the way to play daily fantasy. Just the Kendrick Nunn. Sometimes when the number's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. But let's get into the closing lineup here and kind of what happened, because we know that no matter how he's playing, Bam's going to be on the court. We know obviously Jimmy's going to be on the court. The other three were primarily Dragic, who I think Goran's going to be a closing pretty much every game, right? I mean, so that's automatic now. Which means that you're talking about two other spots. I'll just ask you this. Who played better in your view today? Because the Jay Crowder thing's going to get some buzz now. Who played better in your view today, Ariza or Iguodala, Greg?
Oh, Trevor Ariza. I think that the rebounding, the defense, the timely 3-point shot, I think that sometimes that kind of stuff needs to be taken into account, because we sure have done that with Iguodala along these last, year and a half. So I would definitely say Ariza. He played 38 minutes, so he's getting the lion's share of that time. So he essentially is, Heat fans, he is Jay Crowder in this series. Like, that's 100% his role. And so, when you look at what Jay Crowder,
Giannis as much. That's the thing. That's
true. So like, you should
think get him though.
He did, but not as much as Jay did. Right. Okay. I mean,
I just thought late in the game that, when the Heat needed a bucket, that just to have a few more options on the court in terms of a three would have been an interesting play. I mean, it all worked out where it was a defensive possession. So I'm kind of splitting hairs there. And it's just because Hero looked like he got his legs under his shot late in the second half. And I hope that carries over to the next game. So that's where
I still don't. I still don't trust. I don't know. I'm just not at the stage with him where I trust him to carry over.
No, and
Not,
good point. I mean, even Kendrick got buried today. So you see
Yeah.
now Spo, like Ethan, you've highlighted this, that yeah, they go 9. Well, it could turn into 8. Well, it could also shrink to 6 real quick.
One of the things I've always noticed about Spoelstra through the years that sometimes has worked, but sometimes has not. Remember, this team was excellent in overtime last year, particularly, the first sort of 3-4 months of the season. They were like 8-1 at one point. But he has this thing, Alex, where the guys he plays for the final 6 minutes of the game, he just rolls those 5 in overtime. He doesn't sub. He will just roll them. And I have felt consistently that backfires. That it's just, I don't know, other guys get out of the mix and they get buried completely. Like you mentioned, Kendrick, Tyler were the 2 guys, I guess, tonight. He basically rolled 6, right, with a little bit of Iguodala mixed in. That was it.
Yeah, pretty much. And you're right. He's always tended to do that. And I know you know that better than any of us here. But like, I low-key would have done the same thing if I was in the same position. Like, that's the 5 that I'm comfortable with right now, especially with the way Goran was looking in this game. And I just think he's going to be able to replicate, not necessarily scoring in the 20s every night, but just being able to be effective as a drop killer. Because I really do believe like that's his role. They need somebody to be that pull-up threat. Kendrick does that a little bit too, but Goran is more of a playmaker. And I just think he, when it comes down to it, that's who you want in crunch time. He's a fighter. He does not back down. And he was even making plays on defense, getting stops on defense. I could not be prouder of Goran. Like, given the context, everything we know that's happened with him in the past year since the bubble, the short turnaround, all the injuries, I'm proud of him. But really, like, I agree with you guys. I don't think there's a huge difference between the Bucks and the Heat. In the beginning of this game, and as the game went on, I felt more and more confident about my pick, about picking the Heat to win this series. It's just like how, they're better than last year, but how much better, right? Like, they went from, what are we talking about? A team that almost got swept, really, to now being a team that can really give this team a real competition. And I think this could easily go 6 or 7 games now, if I had to guess. And to me, it's just like any other game. Like, do you guys think that this is going to be a recurring problem? Is Jimmy and Bam not being able to give you enough of scores? Because that's kind of what the Bucks are.
No.
I'm not saying it's going to be this bad, but is this going to be the recurring problem?
I don't know if Bam's going to be the recurring problem. I don't think Jimmy's going to be the recurring problem. I think that Jimmy got to his spots in the first half and just they weren't going down. I mean, but with Bam, it's mindset. With Jimmy, it's not mindset. I feel like Jimmy will continue to get to those spots and some of those will go down. I didn't like some of the early clock threes. I just don't like them for him. Like I didn't like them for Dwayne. Okay, but I do think that he got to his spots. He'll dig in on it. I believe he'll get to the line more early. And I believe he'll be better. Okay. With Bam, I don't know. I will say this, Alex, to your point. Okay. And I do know we want to wrap here soon, but like to your point, one of the reasons we felt that the Bucks closed the gap on the Heat was because Goran Dragic was no longer the Goran Dragic he was last year. And today he was exactly the Goran Dragic he was last year. And if the Heat get even, I don't know.
A great matchup for him.
Right. And if they get like, I don't know, I mean, not going to get every game, but if they get it in say 4 of the 6 games in this series, they probably can win this series.
It'll
because
be
as good as Drew is, okay, he doesn't really impact the game offensively. That he doesn't change what you do offensively. That he's good.
But they need what he brings, though. They need it. Remember, we talked about last year, they need an extra shot creator.
Well, it's like Oladipo, okay, and to a certain degree, what Oladipo was supposed to be for the Heat. He does add that, but I'm just saying he's not. Drew Holiday is not someone that you just like. Okay, that when the Bucks don't have anything else going, just let him cook. Okay, I don't think the Heat view him that way.
That's the matchup you give up,
right? And I also, and just like I think to a certain degree you give up Brook, but I Khris Middleton is the guy that the Heat need to have an answer for, because at times over the past, as you guys have mentioned, 5-6 years, they've not really had an answer for him. And he goes under the radar a lot and he's really, really good. He's, he hasn't been as efficient against Miami, but he's an efficient player. Typically
you get the smaller guy on him. It's food. Like it's that simple.
Yeah. He knows how to play. I mean, it's just really that simple. And he's known how to play against the Heat for a long time, but you look at the Bucks bench, not a lot today. Portis was okay. Bryn Forbes didn't hurt them. I do think that they can win this series. To me, it's Bam. He's got to be better. Yes, Alex, let's close it out.
It's perfect that you mentioned that, because that's what my question is about. And I'm saying this out of curiosity, not even trying to like defend Bam here at all. But I'm going to ask you guys, at any point during this game, did you see them run any type of action where a guard or a Duncan is running a screen while Bam has the ball at the free throw line or below? Because to me,
I can't recall an action, but unfortunately, like, because we have all of these other signposts of plays where he could have been aggressive and taken a short jumper, and we know he can make that shot, and we need him to show that kind of level of aggression, and he didn't take that. It was like, if he was making the most of those possessions, well, then let's run plays for him. But if he's not even going to make the most and look at the basket, like, let's go elsewhere.
But he's their second best player, so I just believe like.
He doesn't believe
in the middle of a playoff game, the big picture shit goes out the window. Spoelstra is trying to win that game.
Right. And my thing is on this, I'm with you. Spoelstra will feed a guy who is showing him that he's playing with that level of aggression. And if Bam is taking that jumper, if he's taking guys off the dribble and he has an opportunity, he will get him more opportunities. Alex, we got 40.
They only run plays for him as a facilitator. Like, what are we doing? He's your second max guy.
I'm sorry. Pump fake with Brook Lopez 5
I'm not
feet
defending
behind
Bam.
him.
Okay, I promise you, I'm not defending Bam. I'm just saying, like, it for what? Okay, think about any other team. Their second best player is getting plays run for them, and I'm not saying run the offense through Bam. I'm just saying don't only use him as a passer.
Okay,
like, I don't think that's.
But he has options. I mean, this is like saying that like Lamar Jackson has a run pass option.
No,
and
he played poorly.
You're not telling him to pass. I mean, he's making the choice to run. Like I just
with the game plan that they played on offense, he played poorly. I'm just saying, like, sometimes they need to help him out a little bit. He did play poorly. It just
I'm
for no other guy, Jamal Murray or any other second guy that you can come up with, they're getting those plays, man. Run
48 hours to go. Bye, Alex.
Brook Lopez guard Bam. I'm tired of this, man.
Bye.